So while that one is kind of drying off, I thought let's do another one. So it's this one that I'm looking at now. So I'm going to try and do it slightly different to the one I did previously, which you can just see. So let's get going with that. So I'm just using the same colour, same palette. I'm not kind of changing anything as such. So I'm going to start off with a sort of yellowy orange kind of colour. And with this one, what I really wanted to kind of talk about was your brushwork. So you can see the way that I'm kind of putting it down. Can you see I'm really kind of pushing down so that this part of the brush, the kind of the plastic part of the brush is really kind of hitting the paper, and it's kind of, you can see the bristles kind of splaying out, and then I'm kind of lifting it off, and you can see the kind of mark that it makes. So that's what I want you to do as part of this project as well, is to really kind of explore your, the way that you're actually using that brush. I know most of you now have got this sort of squirrel brush. So yeah, let's try and kind of really explore the different ways of kind of using it, really. Because you've got this lovely fine point, which you can get some beautiful marks. So what I'm trying to say is I'm starting from the inside and working my way out. So always kind of my marks are coming from here and then lifting up, as it's kind of going out. And by which time I've got this lovely sort of point on my brush, and I can use that then to kind of add other little bits there. And then I'm just kind of doing some little drop-ins, because with this flower you can see the way it's kind of darker in here. So all I'm doing is kind of taking some of that colour and literally just kind of dropping it in, and just letting the paper or the paint do the work for me, really. I don't need to do too much. I can just allow it to do whatever it's going to do. So let's look at the centre. So at the moment I can kind of be quite, all I want to do really is to get some different kind of shades of greens in there. It can go a little bit darker as it comes away from that edge. So really exploring the kind of mark making that I can get. The lovely point of this goes into the point of that leaf, and then I can kind of bring it out. Again, the point goes into here, squashing it down and then lifting it back up again. Okay, I think I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to let that dry off. And then really it's just a little bit of detail in the middle, and I think this one will be done. The main thing that I wanted to kind of show you was really that kind of brushwork. So Okay, so that's kind of dry. It's not completely dry, but let's kind of work in that kind of centre bit a little bit more. So I just need to let's just put in a little bit more of a sort of browny tinge in there, browny green. So I'm mixing up, if you can see my palette there. I'm just lifting up with a very dry brush. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there. I'm not going to do too much because remember, as I keep saying, this is really a practice run. You know, we're just kind of playing. Bit of flicking, always good. Okay, so that's another one. So in this video, I just wanted to talk about the brush strokes. So I realised that when I was filming my other demo, you couldn't quite see the brushwork that I was talking about. So let's just try and kind of do that now in a separate video. So obviously I'm using my squirrel mop brush and I've loaded my brush up with watercolour. So what I'd like you to do really is to just kind of play around with the different pressures that you can put on the brush. So if I had my brush, you know, holding it very lightly just between two fingers, and you know, I'm just kind of creating some lovely kind of straight thin lines, you know, I get a certain kind of stroke. So if I were to let's use a slightly different colour. So if I were to then, just change the way that I'm kind of using the brush. So really kind of pressing down quite hard and then kind of lifting off. So can you see the kind of different leaf shapes that I can kind of potentially get? So this is what I was kind of trying to kind of show in the other kind of video, is that if you kind of press that whole kind of plastic ferrule of the brush right down onto the paper and lift it off, can you see the mark that you get? You know, you can really kind of play around and you know, try different ways, you know. So what I tend to do when I'm painting is that I kind of twist my hand around in order to kind of get the brush you know, kind of in the right place, doing what I kind of really want it to. What I'd also like you to do is just to sort of try and practice the sort of, you know, really, you know, so I'm holding my brush horizontally to the table, and I'm just kind of scraping it, you know, the brush across to get these lovely sort of dry brush marks. You know, and just try these kind of singular brush strokes where you get something like this happening. Okay. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing is I'm putting the brush down, pressing really sort of quite hard, and then very kind of gently kind of lifting that off. Okay, let's just repeat that again. pressing really hard and then very gently lifting off. Now you can see how useful something like this would be for kind of doing petals or leaves or whatever. You know, you get this really, really lovely sort of unique mark. So please try and practice some of these type of kind of brush marks. I mean, look at that. I mean, that's something really lovely has just kind of happened there. You know, and it's a chance for you to kind of, you know, really think about how you're using the brush. More often than not, I'm kind of holding the brush right at the end and kind of painting like that, because it kind of stops me from, you know, trying to get too detailed. So hard to gently lifting off, hard to gently lifting off, flicking marks, using really the tip of the brush, you know, to create some interesting marks.